Hey, it's Bernadette. Happy Monday. Super glad it's Monday, and I'm so glad I'm finally home. I'm just getting my work day started, although I talked to a couple of clients quickly this morning. I had to run out and do a PT appointment, and then come home, and Bella had one, and then I had to go to an eye appointment. So I'm getting my day going. But this is a topic I've wanted to talk to you guys about for the last couple of days because it keeps coming up in counseling sessions and dealing with some of my coaching clients. Hi Melanie, how are you? And I seem to be growing my local business. I've got more clients coming for in-person spiritual counseling sessions, which I'm super excited about because I get really fast breakthroughs with people, and I love doing it. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to get here. Toxic mothers are bad or worse than absent fathers. Absolutely my point too, Melanie, which is why we're going to talk about this, because I've literally had this topic come up no less than 3 times in the last week with counseling clients, like I said, and with a couple people that I've been coaching and doing work with. So hi Janine, how are you? It is super hot here. I was gonna do this from my office, but my air conditioning is actually behind me in my room, so I figured I'd do it in my little makeup room where the lighting's good and I have the air conditioning at my back, so I hope I can deal with the heat. So yeah, oh yay. Say hello when you get here. If you're just on the replay, say replay and say hello. I'd love to know who's here. If you're new, welcome. And if you've never watched me before, my name is Bernadette. I am a spiritual teacher, spiritual counselor, a clairvoyant advisor, and so many things. I can't list them. But if you need help with anything, usually I can help you. All right, so let's talk about this. The first thing I want to be very clear on when it comes to men and women and how they differ as parents, because that's going to kind of lead me in to what I want to talk to you guys about. But you know what? I'm going to go out here real quick first and share this into Burning Gold because I have no way to do it the way that Facebook does it, and I'm noticing I have no way to do it from my cell phone, so I apologize. But I have to do it. Facebook, they should have a share button on here, right? It would make it so much simpler. Hi Amy, how are you? It's good to see you. So hold on a minute, you guys. Be patient with me for a minute so that I can share this into Burning Gold, share into a group, and then I can share it on my page as well, so everybody knows I'm on. I hate the fact that I have to do it this way, but I have no choice, just because it does not let me on my timeline. It does not let me while I'm on my cell phone. Hi Feliciana. So who else is here? Say hello. Hello. Okay, so difference between men and women. And it seems so simple, but apparently not everybody knows. So if you know someone who's a parent, male or female, because this conversation started with one of my male clients that I counsel, and we were discussing, the difference in the way that mothers treat their children, even adult children, than men do. Men typically are a lot more detached. Let's get real, right? With women, and one of the issues I think that comes up in relationships a lot, especially with divorced people, when you're blending families, right, is how you handle someone else's children, but how men don't always understand why women are so bonded and even with their adult children want their adult children to have a say in what's going on in their lives, where men are like, it's none of their business, right? Why is that? Well, think about it. It's simple. It seems simple enough, but I think it bears explaining, which is going to lead me into the second half of what I want to talk to you guys about, and why the issues are so weighted when you have mother issues versus father issues. Women literally build a baby from the ground up in our bellies, in our uterus, for 9 months. It is, in fact, babies, our children, are our flesh and our blood, right? Men, and I'm not trying to like put men down, but we need to be realistic about the biological aspect of this and the scientific way this works. Men, y'all, you're involved in the production of a child in like a 30-second event, right? You're the sperm donor. One sperm out of many is what seeds the egg. And that was your part. That's done. Then the woman is building the blood and the brains and the heart and the organs and the limbs for 9 months. We are feeding that child internally. But then the child is born. And then they're attached to our breasts. And we're feeding them again. And they're a part of our body. They are an extension of our body. So when people ask me why it's so different with parenting, between men and women, why are women so, and why do women's intuition, why is it so much more heightened? Because women are automatically connected to that human being, right? It's a part of your body. Without your cells, your blood, there would be no human body. And it seems really simple, but it's not, because for women, that bond is so much stronger than it is for men. Men can change diapers and whatever. You will never know what it feels like to grow something inside of you that becomes a human life, no matter how hard you try. There's a bond that happens. There's a connection that happens, or should happen. It doesn't always happen, but it should happen. That is stronger for women than it is for the male partner, for the male parent. Okay. So as women, of course, like whatever I decide for myself, I'm deciding for my offspring. That extension. Children are like an arm. They're like an appendage, right? They are a part of our bodies. Where for men, it's their children. They know it's part of their flesh and blood. Their DNA is there, and they're raising it. The child looks like them, but it wasn't internal to their bodies. It wasn't a part of their bodies. They didn't carry it for 9 months. It's not going to be the same bond. No matter how hard we try, it's just not. And we need to understand and accept that as fact, okay? First of all. So when people go through divorce or they split up, a lot of times women don't understand, like, well, why isn't he as bonded as me? Why doesn't he feel the same way about the kids as I do? He can't. Men can't feel that same connection because they didn't bake that thing in an oven internally for 9 months and then have it for another, year attached to their chest. The baby slowly relying on the mother's milk if you're breastfeeding. Now we have formula and all these other things. But the point is, in nature, it's the mother, it's the woman. So, if you're in a relationship and you're my age, right, you have adult children, men are going to handle their adult daughters and sons very differently. Men, okay, the job of men is to protect and defend the territory. So men typically are more worried about things, and the simplest examples I can give you is this: the difference between the way me and my father are. I always know where my kids are. I always know what's going on with my kids. My dad always knows what doors and windows are open. That's his thing. Are the doors locked? Are the windows locked? Is everything safe, right? He's not checking to see if everybody's breathing. He's checking to see that everything's safe. Me, I care about Do you feel loved? Have you been fed, right? Do you feel like you've been heard? That's me. I don't care if I don't care if the car gets broken into. I don't care about that stuff. I care about, do the children feel nurtured? And that's the way us women are. Okay, as a single mom, I've had to be way more conscious about that stuff. Thankfully, my dad lives with me. So, but men defend the territory. Men protect the territory. Us women, we are naturally inclined to protect the health of and the well-being of the children. So a lot of times arguments start to happen between couples when the women, even with their adult children, are like, yeah, I want them to be part of our decision about retirement. And the man's like, they have nothing to do with it. And a woman will get in a fight. Why don't you care about them the same way? They can't. So the sooner you accept that, the better off you're going to be if you're in a relationship and you're trying to deal with it. And it's something everyone should consider, and understand, because even single fathers, and I was raised by my father, not my mother, and he was a single dad. So I can honestly tell you guys, my dad was awesome as a single father raising me, but he was good about making sure I was home from school. Call when you get home, making sure there's food on the table, the electricity is on, and we had, we had clothes and stuff like that, right? He was good at those things. He didn't check in with the emotions and all of those other things. That stuff it didn't matter to him. He didn't know if I was up or down in my moods. It didn't even faze him. He wasn't connected like that. Whereas if I was raised by a woman, a mother, I'm sure my mother would have been connected to that. Unfortunately, my mother had issues, so we didn't have that. But there's a difference. He taught me all kinds of things, how to fix things, how to wire things, how to work on cars, right? He's a great cook, so he taught me how to cook, all kinds of stuff, but totally different. Doesn't mean he doesn't care, right? It doesn't mean he doesn't care. He just can't care the same as a mother can or a woman can, which leads me to the second half of this conversation for you guys. The reason that when we have parent issues, childhood issues, that it's stronger when it's a mother issue versus a father issue. It's harder to get through. It's harder to get over. It's harder to really find your self-worth and pull out of it when it came from a mother issue, is for the very reason that this is the person that you were birthed from. Her cells, her blood, her organs, like I said at the very, very beginning of this, you're supposed to be an extension of your mother. So when you're born into the world and your mother doesn't approve of you, doesn't love you, can't show you affection, doesn't support you, puts you down, is abusive, it's far more damaging than if it comes from a father or if the father figure is absent. No joke. It's harder to get through issues and traumas when it came from the mother. I find it both in my clients that are women and men, right? If it's a mother issue, way harder to deal with. And that's why, because you would think, right? Children naturally go to their mother because that's where the bond is initially supposed to take place. So if a mother and a child don't bond instantly, that child's going to have massive issues unless someone steps in the mother role. But even then, there's always that missing link. People that are adopted, and I've worked with a lot of individuals that are adults that were adopted, they always want to find their birth mother. Why? Because it feels like there's a void. You came from that woman, you came from her body. So to never know her, to never have that connection, it feels like something's missing. A part of you is missing. And it is, right? Which is why when a woman loses a child early on, or when a family loses a baby, it's harder on the mother than it is on the father. I mean, the father can conceptualize the loss of, but the mother actually lost a part of herself. This is the stuff that as we get more conscious and we work on healing, we need to acknowledge that it is a real thing. And the more you understand the roles that your parents play and how you were parented or weren't parented are affecting how you believe, how your beliefs were formed about yourself, about the world around you, about how you relate and whatnot, it will help you to overcome your traumas and, traumatic childhood. But we do need to really there is a difference in the parenting, big difference between the way men look at children and adult children and women look at it. There's no way to compare it. And I'm not trying to put down anybody, so please don't take this wrong. If you've adopted a child, I'm not saying that you aren't as good as. It's just biologically, right? Naturally, children are an extension of the birth mother and the birth mother's body. So whether you've adopted, you're the stepmother, or the father, and you're raising the kids now, and you're like, why isn't it good enough? Why do they still want something from the mother? Because children are, and all creatures, mother, always go to the mother. So when there's a mother issue, that is the core foundational bonding place of every creature, but especially human beings. They want to have that bond. And when that bond is missing, or it's abusive, or there's a lack there, it creates lifelong issues until you can heal it. Because it does make you feel like something's wrong with you. If your mother can't love you, your mother doesn't show you affection, your mother can't approve of you, far more than if it was your father. And this, whether you're a male or female, right? If you have had mother issues, it's going to show up. If you're a woman and you had mother issues, and I said this in a live stream a couple weeks ago, you're going to end up dating people that are just like your mother. And no matter, if they're a male or not, believe me, I've done it. You will find partners who are just like your mother, trying to reconcile those mother issues and heal those traumas. And if you're a man, you will find people who are like your mother, and you will have the same conflicts and try to resolve them within that relationship, right? It's the same. The same is true with father issues. Like if you have father issues, you're going to date someone who's like your father. If you have a healthy relationship with your mother, but it is way more difficult to identify and clear those mother issues if you've never done it. And I just want you guys to understand, it is a biological thing that you have this desire to heal those issues, and you need to, because they are the core part of where you identify who you are, right? And how much value you have in the world. Anyone who's had neglect or abuse from their mother will typically feel like there's something wrong with them. And that feeling of not being good enough, it's expanded, it's magnified, and it's multiplied. Because if your mother can't love you, who can? That's where the ego plays with that one, right? So for the next, I'm gonna kind of keep this topic going, because like I said, it keeps showing up. Like the clients that are coming to me right now for counseling, and whether it's relationship counseling, individual counseling, or just getting through some of their past traumas, this mother stuff is coming up. And then women that are single mothers are having a hell of a time. And then guys that are dating women with children, and they have their own children, not understanding, like, why is it women are so much more about their kids, and even when they're adults and they can't let go, men are just like, they got houses, they've got jobs, they can take care of themselves. But again, men protect and defend the territory. Women are the nurturers. We're the ones that make sure the emotional development's there, not just a roof over your head, that, our kids are safe and sane, that our kids are stable. We worry about all of those things. We're concerned about all of those things, because truly our children are like our arms. They're a part of us. They're literally an appendage. One that has its own feet and its own attitude and its own mouth. And it just will never change. Moms will never stop caring about their children. when they're loving moms. So does that help you guys? I hope that it does. For those of you who have been sitting there trying to figure out, why you're having such a hard time. And it's funny too, because school's starting up. Today was the first day of school for many of the schools in Hawaii. In fact, in Alabama, I think a couple of you have kids that follow me, have kids that start school today too. And it's an interesting thing, even with kids going back to school, right? Mothers are the ones the kids hold on to and get separation anxiety from, not dad. And the mothers are the ones that worry about the kids going back to school. Are they going to be okay? I wonder if they're, they're handling it okay. Where dads are just like, another day, you got to go to school. No big deal, right? As long as the school has air conditioning and you've got a desk, like, we're all good. You got lunch. And it ends there. Where women, of course, we are concerned far beyond that. So that's also why I think too, father issues are a lot easier to clear than mother issues, because dads, again, protect and defend, and then moms, we do the rest. We make sure you're safe and sane. So when a mother doesn't care, it's hard. It's hard to identify. It's hard to heal. It's hard to it's hard to get through, and then you play it out in your relationships, and that just flat out sucks. So anyhow, I love you guys. I hope that helps. It's something that I've been meaning to get to, and I'm rushing to get through it. But I wanted to get your minds going in that direction today. This topic, we'll see how it pans out for the next week. There's a few other things that keep coming up that I do want to talk to you guys about, but I have limited time today. I've got to jump on Patreon. I'm coming on to do your numerology lesson for the week. And then today's Monday. I keep thinking it's Tuesday because it's going to be one of those weeks. We are fast forward this month of August, and I'll just leave this with all of you. This month is moving fast, and the energy is moving so fast, and there's a lot happening all at one time. Keep your cool. Focus on the task at hand, and don't worry about the 20 other tasks that you have to take care of, just one at a time, and you'll get through it. This month is going to bring massive change. Not emotional so much as July was, but certainly big, huge breakthroughs happening and manifested into the physical. So it's an exciting time. It's an exhausting time. It's an overwhelming time. And we got to stay as present as we possibly can in this moment, because the rest of the moments will just stack up as they do. And if you're future tripping way ahead of where you are right now, you're not going to get through it. All right. So hang in there. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Patreon, I'll see you guys in about 10 minutes for our next numerology lesson. I think we did 5 last week, so we're doing the life paths, that composite numbers that add up to the 6 life paths. So this will be fun. I actually met someone who was a 6 yesterday, and then someone who was a 6 again the other day. It's amazing how everyone wants to give me their birthdays. And I met a kid. I just realized one of Bella's friends, we went to the water park yesterday, and I just off the cuff, because we were talking about him, and I was like, do you know what an empath is? Because he didn't know I was a psychic. And I told him, and he's like, so you're a fortune teller? I'm like, no, that's not how that works. And we started talking, and he's like, well, what do you get off of me? And I was like, instantaneously, Jake, you're an empath. So hi, Jake, if you're watching, because he's following me now. But interesting, because his birthday is the same day as mine, December 18th, but obviously years apart. And his personality's a little different than mine, but same struggle of an empath. Truth seeker, gets taken advantage of, always the giver, right? Over giver. And people always take from him. So I'm hoping I can, help educate this one, so that because he's not even 18, he's turning 18 this year. And boy, if I had this information when I was 17, totally different outcome to my life. I would have been, an avatar. I had avatar status back when I was like 19. Anyways, thought I'd share that with you. I'll see you guys later. Patreon, I'll see you in a few.